Next news, breaking news.
JB Pritzker, the man who looks like he ate the last 3 Illinois governors and went back for seconds, just got called out from the West Wing itself. Stephen Miller on record saying Pritzker's call for mass protests is inciting violence. This billionaire Hyatt heir turned Illinois into a sanctuary disaster, cranked up your taxes, told fleeing residents to get out, and now he's calling ICE agents, American law enforcement, the real invaders. Not the millions who actually invaded our southern border. And here's the kicker. This walking argument for term limits and portion control thinks he's ready for the White House in 2028. America, you need to hear what's coming. See, here's why this matters to every single American. So pay attention right now. See, JB Pritzker isn't just Illinois' problem anymore. He wants to make his failed policies your problem. Under his watch, Illinois became a sanctuary state. Crime exploded, taxes went through the roof, electric bills skyrocketed because he cut sweetheart deals with data centers for his billionaire buddies. And when hardworking families said enough is enough, this man looked him in the eye and told them to leave. That's his solution. Get out of his state. Now imagine that attitude in the Oval Office. Imagine this man with executive power over your community, your wallet, your family's safety. He's already calling for mass protests against President Trump's wildly successful border enforcement, which has dropped illegal crossings by 95%. He's terrified of ICE at polling places. Why? Because the only people scared of ICE at polls are people who shouldn't be voting in the first place. Illinois is the warning label on the nation, and Pritzker wants to slap that label on all 50 states. And speaking of protecting America's future, there is some breaking news on the economic front that you need to hear. This directly from the White House. The Trump administration has just announced over $30 billion to secure America's critical mineral supply chains, and they named a specific Alaskan project as a key strategic asset for U.S. mineral independence. Now, I have been physically to the Vizsla copper drilling site myself. I've seen it with my own eyes. And what's happening right now is bigger than most people actually realize. You see, President Trump just unveiled Project Vault, a $12 billion strategic minerals reserve designed to stockpile essential resources and keep America first in the global economy. While JB Pritzker is busy turning Illinois into a failed state, the Trump administration is building real American wealth and security. Now, Vizsla Copper is positioned right at the center of this national priority. You can find them trading in the United States under VCUFF and in Canada as VCU.V. So check out the exclusive briefing that has been prepared for you below. This is the kind of investment in America's future that actually matters, and we thank them for supporting this program. Now let's get back to the unfolding disaster that is JB Pritzker's political career. Oh, it gets even more ridiculous. Pritzker actually called ICE agents invaders. Let that sink in for a moment. American law enforcement officers doing their jobs, protecting your communities from criminal illegal aliens. And this billionaire governor calls them the invaders? Not the actual invaders who walked across our open border? Not the criminals that ICE is locking up at a rate of 800 per operation? No, the Americans that Darren Bailey put it perfectly when he said Pritzker flooded the basement and now he's selling us a mop. I'm going to show you exactly what these patriots are saying. First, let's go to that moment when I was at the White House and had an opportunity to ask Stephen Miller a question about Fat Boy Pritzker.
I would take a few questions.
Stephen, Illinois Governor Pritzker just called for mass protests and disruption, saying Republicans cannot know peace, while Trump's border crossings are down 95% and ICE is locking up 800 criminals. Is Pritzker inciting insurrection, and will DOJ take action?
Well, what I would say is that his comments, if nothing else, clearly could be construed as inciting violence. So President Trump survived 2 assassination attempts against his life. Of course, there's been many more credible threats against President Trump and his family and associates. We've, of course, seen the spate of left-wing domestic terrorism all across this country. By the way, the destruction of property sits directly adjacent to attacks on humans and physical attacks. In other words, once you tolerate and once you allow for attacks on property, you're just a step away from people throwing Molotov cocktails into people's homes. And you've even seen some, I think one example of a formerly prominent Washington Post journalist who seemed to be celebrating the murder of a healthcare CEO, right? Health insurance CEO. And that's the point we've reached in this country, where people are engaging in rhetoric and behavior that puts the lives of public servants in danger, puts the lives of conservative Americans in danger. And so that's the first thing I would say. And then, of course, secondly, right, just this war that Democrat governors and mayors are waging against federal law enforcement. I mean, this is nullificationist behavior. This is successionist behavior, where they're saying they don't recognize the supremacy of federal law enforcement in terms of protecting the lives and livelihoods of American citizens against a foreign invasion. We've never seen anything like it. And of course, the result of their conduct is that they're allowing illegal aliens to go free and rape and murder their own citizens. So I can't imagine having a leader in a city or a state that would privilege the well-being of illegal alien murderers over their own citizens, but that's where we are right now.
That's exactly where we are right now. Stephen Miller laying bare the dangerous rhetoric of Pritzker. Now Pritzker's panic grows as the call for ICE agents at the polls looms over his sanctuary policies. Pritzker's panicking. He's scared that President Trump will send ICE agents to the polls in November and scare people away.
We should be for raising the minimum wage in the United States. That's one of many issues. A second I'll just give you is, democracy underlying it all. But a really important issue is they're taking away our voting rights. They're taking away your voting rights. And we have got to fight like hell to preserve those rights. So many people lost their lives doing it. Jesse Jackson, so proud to be from the state that Jesse Jackson called home. And I can tell you that we needed him now more than ever. The loss of Jesse Jackson is, frankly, it's almost hard to believe we're living in a world. My whole life, Jesse Jackson has been a beacon of fighting for voting rights and civil rights. And I must say, it is at this moment when all of us need to be civil rights activists. All of us. If we don't have a fair election in November, we won't have any more elections. Everybody has to show up, and you have to show up with purpose. And I don't care if Donald Trump, he's going to try to call out ICE and CBP and scare people away from the polls. Everybody, he's going to make it seem like you shouldn't vote. We need to go with purpose and push them out of the way, or at least tell them to get out of the way, and go in and vote. And all of us as governors need to protect your right to vote.
Whose right to vote? I mean, if illegal aliens show up to vote, isn't that breaking the law, JB? I mean, having ICE or CBP at polling places would be a wonderful deterrent to keep those illegals from stealing votes from actual American citizens. But JB doesn't see it that way. He needs those illegal votes. And here's that moment when JB tells Illinois residents, don't like it, you can leave.
I'm sorry that people want to make a spectacle of themselves by claiming that they're going to leave the state. Look, if you want to leave the state, I would like you to stay. I'd like you to get involved and make it a better place by working together with us. But if you want to leave, then get up and move. And there's no chance that you're going to pick up a county and have it join another state.
Yeah, get up and move. Maybe you need to get up and move a little bit more. Pritzker's solution to dissent is to simply tell people to exit stage left. Meanwhile, some are wondering if it's part of a dark circus act slated for the 2028 presidency. And people are asking Nick Shirley to show up. Hey, Nick, can you please visit Illinois and expose JB Pritzker? Haha, Tim Walz, Gavin Newsom, JB. Oh, yes, Nick. We would love to see you in our state. Now we have the possible 2028 Democrat presidential list now been released. Circus Sideshow Act. Send in the clowns. Kamala, Governor Wes Moore, Josh Shapiro, JB Pritzker, Ro Khanna, Pete Buttigieg. Oh, here's Pete Buttigieg.
Martha, you got Governor Wes Moore, you got Governor Shapiro, Governor JB Pritzker, Representative Ro Khanna out in California, and Pete Buttigieg, who were all asked about what their future holds.
Are you going to run again? You save me a seat, I'll be there.
Any of these people who are thinking about 2028, I need to see that you're taking 2026 seriously.
I don't know what I'll be doing after. I hope I win re-election after, but I can tell you this, I'm going to fight like hell to elect a Democrat in 2028.
There are those that have raised the prospect that you should run for president. And and
You're going to be my running mate?
Yeah. That's the clown show getting ready. And here's JB Pritzker. Thinks ICE agents are invaders.
Knew when he got reelected that it was going to be bad. It was bad the first term, but you could see he was heading into a second term to really take away people's rights. And the first thing he did was go after, well, ICE, CBP invading my city.
Yeah, Chipocalypse now, bitch. Darren Bailey had this to say. He is the GOP candidate for governor in Illinois. He said you spent years cramming energy-sucking data centers into backyards, promised them billions in tax breaks, and our electric bills exploded. You flooded the basement, and now you're selling us a mop. And here's a flashback that Darren Bailey posted.
In today's world, data centers are as critical a part of our infrastructure as our roads, our rail, and our schools. That's a bipartisan understanding shared by business and by labor groups alike. And with this legislation, we are welcoming a surge of economic development.
A surge. More like his surge to the buffet line to catch that last piece of orange chicken. Now, here's what the establishment does not want you to understand. JB Pritzker isn't just a bad governor. He is the blueprint for what the Democrat Party wants to do to every single state in the nation. Sanctuary policies that protect criminals over citizens. Tax schemes that crush working families while billionaires get sweetheart deals. Energy policies that explode your bills while lining corporate pockets. And when you dare to complain, they tell you to leave. This is the new Democrat model, rule by contempt. Stephen Miller called it exactly right from the West Wing. Pritzker's rhetoric about mass protests sits dangerously close to inciting violence. We've seen 2 assassination attempts on President Trump. We've seen left-wing domestic terrorism, and now a sitting governor fanning those flames because border crossings dropped 95%. That's not leadership. That's desperation. So, America, JB Pritzker is what happens when generational wealth meets zero accountability, meets an all-you-can-eat taxpayer buffet. And he just got caught stuffing his pockets with the orange chicken. Illinois is hemorrhaging residents. Taxes are crushing families. Crime is out of control. Electric bills are through the roof. And this man, this billionaire who's never had to worry about a paycheck in his life, has the audacity to eye the White House in 2028. We cannot let the Illinois disaster go national. So share this video with everyone you know and drop a comment below and tell me, should JB Pritzker be investigated for inciting violence? Yes or no? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss when we expose these establishment fraudsters. But here's one better. Go ahead and text raw feed to 844-840-4963. That's right, text the words raw feed to the number on the screen. When the algorithm sends you garbage, when notifications never arrive, I will still be here sending you a direct message to your phone, a text message. We set this up just to bypass all the suppression that we've been experiencing because we want to make sure you get the information you deserve. So check out the Next News merch shop right below this video and wear your support for truth proudly. The mainstream media won't tell you what Pritzker's really about, but we will every single day. I'm Gary Franchi for the Next News Network. Stay informed and stay free.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.